Each practitioner should place importance on the preliminary practices. Without sufficient and good practice of the preliminaries, it will be extremely challenging to make any progress on the main practice. The practice guidance is easy to read, yet hard to internalize. So every one of us should practice in accordance with the state of our minds. Only when the preliminary practices are well accomplished will the sequence of our practice not fall into chaos. Moreover, preliminary practices are also the most effective and powerful way to eliminate afflictions. In this degenerate age, many people don't adhere to the prescribed sequential order and the instructions of their lineage masters. As a result, it is not uncommon for those people to encounter obstacles during their practice or have no spiritual experience arising in them, causing them to simply leave the path, lose faith in the Dharma and the teacher, or even generate wrong views toward Buddhism. It is not easy for us to embark on the path to liberation, so we must practice according to the pith instructions of lineage masters. This is extremely important. Yesterday, we learned we should contemplate the four metaphors. More specifically, we should think of the teacher as a skillful doctor and ourselves as patients. The only way the teacher can guide you to liberation is through teaching the Dharma. If you follow the teacher's instructions, your practice will definitely reach fruition. If a severely sick person wants to recover, he must follow the prescriptions of the experienced doctor. If the patient doesn't follow the doctor or doesn't take the medicine prescribed by the doctor, he can hardly recover. As for the doctor, however skillful he is, he cannot treat a patient without prescribing anything. Therefore, make sure you understand the interdependence between the patient and the doctor. Nowadays, some people are going to extremes. Some practitioners say they don't need any teacher and hope to achieve realization through their own intellectual capacity. But this is just impossible. Throughout history, except for the very few practitioners with superior faculties, ordinary practitioners cannot achieve this. On the other hand, some practitioners overly rely on the teacher. They are unwilling to practice, hoping the teacher will take care of everything for them. But even if the teacher is a great enlightened master, he is incapable of transferring his realization directly into the mind of those disciples who engage in little practice. As I said yesterday, the impartial love and compassion from the Buddhas of the three times is indescribable. And let alone the Buddhas, even the love and compassion from bodhisattvas such as Avalokiteshvara is beyond our imagination. If the Buddhas and bodhisattvas could completely dispel the sufferings of all sentient beings, how is it that they would just witness beings falling into lower realms without offering any help? It is only through studying the Dharma that you will find answer to this question. People with wrong views either believe the teacher can liberate everyone so they don't have to practice at all, or they think the teacher doesn't have any capacity. Both views are wrong. Dharma students won't fall into such extreme views if they understand the causal link between the doctor and the patient. Is it possible for the patient to not take the prescribed medicine and be cured by the doctor? Anyone with basic knowledge of medicine knows this is impossible. This is why wrong views must be stopped. This is a serious phenomenon you find in Tibetan Buddhism these days. Many seemingly faithful disciples claim, "My guru is a highly realized tulku, so it doesn't matter if I commit wrongdoings. My guru promised he would bring me to a higher rebirth when I die." Some unlearned masters promise, "It is all okay. As long as you are thinking of me at the moment of death, I will appear to guide you. Therefore, it is not a big deal if you commit wrongdoings now." Such kind of affirmation doesn't make sense. For monastic members who will take disciples in the future, please make sure you don't carelessly say something like this. An individual who has committed a felony will receive legal punishment. Even if his family member is the head of the government, he cannot be exempt from charges. No one can override the law of cause and effect, even in the secular world. Therefore, one must understand this when following a teacher. We've learned that the present moment marks the turning point that will determine our outcome, for better or worse, far into the future. It is crucial that we choose between samsara and nirvana once and for all, and put the instructions of our teacher into practice. Therefore, our true hope lies in following a qualified teacher, receiving their instructions, and diligently putting the instructions into real practice. This is our only path to liberation. Tibetan monastics who conduct village ceremonies for the deceased would recite the Bardo Thodel, liberation through hearing during the intermediate state, in which there is one verse. It is the turning point of going up or down, like steering a horse by the reins. Going up refers to rebirth in the higher realms or the pure land, while going down means rebirth in the lower realms. As when a horse rider pulls the reins, the horse heads toward the designated direction, so the ceremony conductor recites that the consciousness of a just deceased person is like a horse guided by the reins, and that the moment of death is the turning point. During the time of Patrul Rinpoche, those conductors would recite this text during an end-of-life service. In fact, it is the present moment, while we are still alive, that is the turning point, not the moment of death. Both Jigme Gyalwai Nyugu and Patrul Rinpoche have said during their teachings, "It's very hard for people like me to transfer consciousness only by receiving a recitation service during the Bardo stage, so practices conducted while still alive are very important." Most people may not attain liberation during the Bardo stage, except eminent masters who achieve liberation in the luminous Bardo of Dharmata due to their practice during previous lives. If an experienced practitioner doesn't attain liberation during the luminous Bardo of Dharmata, he may follow the instructions whispered into his ears by the teacher or by Dharma peers while the practitioner is in the karmic Bardo of becoming. If he wants a rebirth as a human again, he visualizes his consciousness as the seed syllable hum or ach. If he wants to attain liberation, he visualizes his mind as the seed syllable rih, which then merges into Buddha Amitabha, who goes to the blissful Pure Land. There are many such visualizations in Vajrayana practice. When the deceased person's outer respiration ceases, but the inner respiration is still ongoing, or when his inner respiration ceases and he receives pointing out instructions every day for the 49 days after death, he may have the chance to transfer consciousness. Even if heavy karmic debts are bringing the deceased toward a lower rebirth through his guru's forceful thawa, a profound practice of transference of the consciousness, a few individuals with specific affinity may still be reborn into a higher realm or even attain liberation. Nevertheless, for most deceased individuals, it is extremely difficult to transfer the consciousness simply through receiving recitations. At the moment of death, if you haven't mastered the path through diligent practice, the fierce wind of your past negative actions will be chasing after you, while in front a daunting black darkness will surge towards you. Helplessly, you will be propelled along the long and perilous path of the intermediate state. If you have committed severe negative actions such as killing, the Lord of Death's countless henchmen will be pursuing you, crying, "Kill, kill, strike, strike." Eminent masters have taught that the scenes of hell realms will immediately arise at the moment of death for those individuals with heavy karmic debts. How is it possible that at such a moment, when there is no place to escape or hide, no refuge and no hope, when you are desperate and lost, how could such a moment be the turning point when you can decide whether you go up or down? If this is the case, does it mean that the Bardo Thodel text is wrong? It is not. For some people, the recitation does offer help, and after receiving such pointing out instruction, they can attain liberation. But for most individuals, the moment of now is the most important. Some people tell me, I can't engage in virtuous acts now, so please perform the transference of consciousness for me when I die. The parents of some monks or nuns place their hope on their child, saying, "You are a monastic, so make sure you transfer my consciousness when I die." Or, "You are a Buddhist, so I will be okay if you recite prayers for me when I die." Such a deliverance service is indeed beneficial, but the most important thing is that you engage in virtuous acts while still alive. The precious merit accumulated by yourself cannot be taken away by anyone else. Recently, I established a senior center for Tibetan laypersons in my hometown. I told the lay practitioners in the center, over 100 of them, now that you are old and at the last stage of your lives, you barely have a say in things at home anymore. If you don't practice the Dharma well while you are still alive, then when you die, your family will just offer you recitations for 49 days and then send your corpse to a cemetery or a funeral home. The family's actions may be beneficial for you, but it is far less than the benefits you get from your own practice. Even if you just listen to one Dharma class per day, or do prostrations, recite mantras, or offer a butter lamp, you will accumulate far more merit and receive far more benefit for yourself than from your family. Therefore, do not place all your hope on the Guru's fawa, thinking that the Guru is almighty, so you can rest assured of the Guru's help without practicing anything. Such a view is very wrong. In some rural places, because people don't know too much about the Dharma, they think they can commit whatever wrongdoings they like, and they will be completely okay if a guru performs the transference of consciousness when they die. It is not that easy. It's just like if a person is put in prison for their crimes, it will be quite challenging for them to gain release through their social connections. As Padmasambhava says, by the time empowerment is given to the card marked with your name, it's already too late. Your consciousness, aimlessly drifting in the intermediate state like a bewildered dog, will find it immensely hard to even think of higher realms. What is meant by empowerment given to the card marked with your name? According to Tibetan tradition, when a person dies, his family will invite the guru or sangha members to offer recitations of deliverance prayers close to the deceased's pillow for 49 days. The family has to prepare a card marked with an image of the deceased. The Buddhist masters will attract the deceased's consciousness onto the card, and the card will be the object of empowerment when the masters recite the Bardo Thodol. If the deceased person is a male, the card will depict a man. If it is a female, then a woman. The style of drawing varies according to different traditions in different areas, but in general, the deceased will be depicted as crouching under a parasol with two palms putting together. The card will be decorated with a parasol, a flower garland, and things the deceased is very attached to. For example, corals and pearls for a rich person, and mala beads for a poor person. This is a common practice, also described in the Termas of Padmasambhava. Normally, when a Tibetan dies, his family will invite sangha members to recite the Bardo Thodol for 49 days if they are affluent enough, or at least for 7 or 14 days if they are less affluent. After the deliverance ceremony is finished, the family will bring the card with its precious decorations to a guru in whom the deceased had the most faith. The guru will then handle the card and its decorations. When the great Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche was alive, he received a lot of such cards sent by people from everywhere. On the 15th day or the 30th day of each Tibetan calendar month, Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche would invite the Sangha to do recitations and then handle the cards properly. Actually, it is very common that a deceased person attains liberation through the Guru's blessings or the Sangha's recitations. But here, Padmasambhava emphasizes that the turning point for going up or down is right now. So he says it is too late by the time empowerment is being given to the card, because the deceased person's consciousness already is wandering in the intermediate state like a dazed dog. No matter how hard the ceremony masters try to attract the person's consciousness, the consciousness is not coming back. The wind of past actions carries the consciousness here and there, and the deceased person cannot even think of higher realms, let alone going to the Pure Land. However, if we encounter the Bardo practice on a seemingly random occasion when alive, it can bring great benefit. Here is a well-known story about an old lady in Tibet. Once upon a time, there lived a very rich man in Tibet. One of his neighbors was an old lady who got along well with the man and his family. One day the man died, and the sad wife sent someone to tell the news to the old lady. The old lady went to the rich man's house to help the wife deal with the man's death, such as making food offerings. The old lady was a Buddhist practitioner who performed good deeds. However, since she lived in a remote place, she was not familiar with the mandalas and deities of tantric practice. The wife invited many lamas to recite the Bardo Thodel for 49 days for the rich man, and thankas of the 100 peaceful and wrathful deities were displayed in the shrine room. The old lady had never seen such thankas before, so she stared at them with great curiosity. A lama happened to be in the shrine room, so the old lady asked what was portrayed on the thanka. The lama told her, "Those are deities that appear at the moment of death." The old lady felt doubtful, saying, "Really? I wonder why these things show up when we die." She was not sure what she had heard, but nevertheless her faith in the deities somehow arose. 3 years later, the old lady died. Her children were very sad and invited many lamas to offer recitations for 49 days. When the ceremony was over, the family planned to give her card to the renowned Karmapa. One of her sons went to Lhasa so he could give the card and the old lady's jewelry and mala beads to the Karmapa. There were many visitors to see the Karmapa, so the son was not able to meet the master until the 3rd day after his arrival in Lhasa. The Karmapa was sitting in a chair in a garden, and the son made a generous offering. The son then handed the old lady's card to the Karmapa, saying, "My mother has died. Please guide her to liberation. Please promise me you will do it." The Karmapa answered, "I can't promise this to you. Sentient beings are under the influence of their own karmas, and I don't have the power to change that." "Then tell me," said the son, "where was my mother reborn?" The Karmapa said, "How should I know? I don't have that psychic power. I don't know." The son said, No, you must tell me where my mother was reborn. Please guide her and bless her, so she can attain realization in the Buddha's Pure Land." Karmapa replied, "I have neither such power nor clairvoyance." The son insisted, "You must have both power and clairvoyance." He held the Karmapa's legs and earnestly pleaded, "You must promise me, otherwise I won't let you go." Saying that, the son started to sob. The son must have loved his mother very much. Many Tibetans are like this. On the one hand, they have deep affection for the deceased parent, and on the other hand, they have strong faith in the guru, so they insist on making the guru promise to help the deceased. Finally, the Karmapa said, "Your mother was reborn into the Pure Land several weeks ago." The son didn't believe the Karmapa, so he said, "You must be lying. My mother didn't know how to practice the Dharma. She rarely recited mantras or chanted the Buddha's names, so how could she possibly attain liberation? You told me this just because I was holding your legs, didn't you?" Karmapa said, "No, I didn't. Didn't someone die in your neighborhood 3 years ago? When your mother went to help the family, she happened to see the images of peaceful and wrathful deities at the ceremonial site. A lama told her that the deities would appear at the moment of death, so when your mother saw the deities when she died, she recognized them and attained liberation right away. If you don't believe me, you can go back and ask the Lama about what happened 3 years ago." When the son returned home, he immediately went to ask the Lama. The Lama replied, "Oh yes. When your mother saw the Thanka of Bardo deities, she asked me what they were. I told her that these were all the deities that would appear in the Bardo stage when we die." After hearing this, the son generated a strong faith in Vajrayana. This is a true story, not a made-up tale. Therefore, if we are capable of doing the Bardo practice, we may attain liberation during the Bardo stage. If not, we have the chance to encounter the profound tantric teachings in the next life and then attain liberation. Even if we have never done the Bardo practice, if we have the sources of merit and the opportunity to know the peaceful and wrathful deities during our lifetime, then we will not fall into lower realms and may even attain liberation during the Bardo stage. Therefore, if we have a chance to see images of peaceful and wrathful deities, we should remember them clearly and know they will appear when we die. Of course, people have different levels of faculties. During the Bardo stage, some people will see images of deities in Yabyum, the peaceful deities, and the wrathful deities all appearing before them. For other people, the deities' images may not appear as they are, and deities may even appear in the forms of animals. But in this case, make sure you neither generate hatred nor simply see the deities as animals. If you fail to recognize they are deities, they will immediately become horrifying henchmen of the hell realm, which, as you should know, are in fact the projection of your own mind. Nowadays, many people hold wrong views about Vajrayana, which we cannot prevent. Even during the time of Buddha Shakyamuni, some people held many wrong views toward not only Vajrayana, but also Sutrayana, which also couldn't be stopped. However, individuals with an affinity for Vajrayana shouldn't reject anything they haven't yet understood. For example, upon seeing a Yabyum image, one shouldn't carelessly dismiss it as something unnecessary or meaningless. Please make sure you don't think this way. Such images carry many profound meanings that have nothing to do with the lust, hatred, and ignorance of your initial understanding. Buddhism is not this shallow or unintelligent. Even if you don't understand the embedded meanings, just seeing the images of peaceful and wrathful deities is of great benefit. The old lady in the story neither received empowerment nor did Bardo practice when she was alive. All she did was see the images of the Bardo deities, and she was even a bit suspicious about them. Regardless, when the old lady died, she was able to attain liberation right away. Therefore, the turning point is right now while you are still alive. As human beings, we can arouse bodhicitta, receive ordination, and practice Tantra with our precious human life. Such positive actions are far more powerful than those of beings in the other 5 realms of hell, hungry ghosts, animals, asuras, and gods. Thus, we have the opportunity here and now in this very life to cast rebirth aside once and for all. For example, some Kadampa eminent masters attained the state of Vajradhara, complete enlightenment, after lifelong diligent practice. Many Nyingma renunciates went to the Buddha's Pure Land after an entire life of practice. Some eminent masters of the Chan and Pure Land schools of Chinese Buddhism, who were once just ordinary worldly people, were able to let go of mundane life and devote themselves wholeheartedly to Dharma practices by relying on uncontrived faith in the teacher and the Dharma. As a result, they freed themselves from future rebirths in samsara. But as human beings, our negative actions are also more powerful than those of beings in other realms. Thus, we are also quite capable of ensuring that we will never be free from the depths of the lower realms. Why? Because in no time we may start to commit severe wrongdoings, such as holding evil views of the Guru, the 3 jewels, the law of karma, and so forth, slandering them verbally, or defaming them in our minds. This is unachievable for animals like yaks and hell beings. Humans' power to commit negative actions is increased in this era, given the rapid development of science and technology. If a person holds wrong views, they may produce nuclear weapons like atomic bombs, which can kill tens of thousands of lives at once. Even if they just create a traditional landmine, the blast can still kill many. Humans' capacity to commit wrongdoings is truly formidable. Before embracing Buddhism, some people, including those who are listening to my teaching, used to commit wrongdoings much more vicious than those of a yak. Although yaks also have afflictions including lust, hatred, and ignorance, they don't deliberately kill others or produce deadly weapons. Therefore, some wrongdoings that a human is capable of committing in this life may prevent this person from being free from samsara. Luckily, now that we have encountered the teacher, the skillful doctor, and the Dharma, the miraculous medicine that conquers death, now is the time to apply the four metaphors, putting the teachings you have received into real practice and embarking on the path of liberation. By doing so, the blessings and the power of the Dharma will progressively integrate into your minds. I often think of this. Among all the causes and conditions that happened to me, encountering the great Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche is the greatest blessing in my life. I am not just paying lip service here. I truly mean it. If I had not met my guru, I would have been like my classmates whose lifestyles, views, and actions are totally centered around worldly concerns. It is very important that Buddhists often pray to the Guru and to the three jewels. Through prayer, spiritual responses, and blessings from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas will merge into our minds. Studying Dharma is unlike studying worldly knowledge, the latter of which only requires intellectual understanding. A Buddhist has to cultivate faith and devotion so he can receive blessings from lineage masters, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas. When the blessings merge with our own wisdom, the union of both is very powerful, which can help us refrain from wrongdoing and guide us to liberation. Hence, studying the Dharma is very different from studying worldly knowledge. Therefore, I hope that on your path of Buddhist practice, you will pray to the Guru and the three jewels in the morning after you wake up, at night before you fall asleep, and on every occasion, including walking, standing, sitting, or lying down. Make sure you are never apart from the Guru's blessings and the luminous wisdom. This practice was done by many past eminent masters and practitioners. For example, when seeing beautiful flowers in a garden, they wouldn't grasp the beauty of the flowers. Instead, they would offer the flowers to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in their visualizations, or they would feel gratitude to the Guru because it is due to the Guru's blessings that they are able to enjoy the beauty of the flowers. A person with practice and realization sees both happiness and pain as blessings from the Guru and the three jewels. When he experiences excruciating pain due to sickness, he won't think, "Poor me, I am so sick for no reason." Instead, he'll think, "The blessings of the Guru and the three jewels are incredible. Being sick renders me an opportunity to eliminate my bad karmas. Because of this, I am able to remove the karmic obscurations accumulated since beginningless time." This is the conduct of a superior practitioner. In contrast, some lay people constantly complain. They say, "I am so unlucky and miserable. After studying the Dharma for so long and trying to accumulate merits through so many lamp offerings and life releases, I caught a cold again. Why didn't the three jewels bless me? I am losing my faith in the Dharma." Such people only have a shallow understanding of the Dharma. They have no idea what the blessings of the three jewels really mean. Furthermore, we should also cut off the opposite of the four metaphors, the four wrong notions, while listening to teachings by following the four metaphors. Jigme Lingpa says in the Treasury of Precious Qualities, shallow-tongued men with evil natures approach the teacher as if he were a musk deer. Having extracted the musk, the perfect Dharma, full of joy, they sneer at the Samaya. Here Jigme Lingpa says such people see themselves as hunters, the teacher as a musk deer, the Dharma as the musk, and diligent practice as the skillful means to hunt the deer. In the past, hunters adopted deceptive means to trap musk deer. For example, they would dig a hole in a forest passage in which they would put a lasso with one end tied to a pliable stick. After the trap was set, they covered the hole with grass or leaves. When a musk deer walked by, the animal would fall into the hole, which activated the pliable stick and tightened the lasso. Thus, the musk deer was trapped. The hunter then caught the musk deer, killed it, and sold its musk for a fortune. A bad disciple is like the hunter. He first follows the teacher by deception. For example, if the teacher likes wealth, the disciple will make more material offerings. If the teacher likes fame, the disciple will please him through flattery. Why is the disciple doing so? The goal is to get the pith instructions from the teacher. Until getting the instructions, the disciple will follow the teacher for years and never leave. Once the teacher has given the Sutrayana and Vajrayana teachings, the disciple discards the teacher and discards his vows. The disciple starts using the teachings to pursue worldly gains, including fame, wealth, and praise. There are many such disciples in the degenerate age. Some people manage to receive transmissions of the lineage through various means, and then they start self-promoting, selling the Dharma in the same way the hunter sells the musk. Such bad disciples feel no gratitude toward the teacher, and they don't even admit they've received teachings from the teacher. Instead, they boast that they understand the teachings all by themselves without any guidance from any teacher. Even worse, some of them avoid mentioning the name of the teacher because they are worried that mentioning the teacher will undermine their building a grandiose self-image. Because of the disciple's lack of gratitude to the teacher, the disciple's Dharma teaching, which may be of temporary help to the listeners in the beginning, is ultimately of little benefit to himself and others. Therefore, when we follow a teacher, we must avoid these four wrong notions. Otherwise, such bad actions, disobeying the teachings, discarding and deceiving the teacher, will trap the disciples in the hell realms life after life without a chance of liberation. Such horrifying consequences are clearly described in the tantric teachings. Therefore, when we follow a guru, our actions should be impeccable. With reverence and pure perception, we should pray that the blessings of the guru and the three jewels will merge into our minds. Only when we think of ourselves as patients can the elixir-like Dharma benefit us. If a person follows the guru for self-interest and, after receiving teachings, completely ignores the teacher and even goes so far as to avoid mentioning they ever received the teacher's teachings, or if they do mention it, they do so with a disrespectful tone, such actions are truly terrible. Even if the teacher only taught you one verse of the Dharma, you should feel grateful to them and never forget them in your life. A wise person will never forget the kindness of a worldly teacher. So since the Dharma is far more valuable and beneficial to us than worldly knowledge, we must feel even more grateful to our Dharma teachers. Only by doing so can the Dharma empower blessings to your mind. Otherwise, the Dharma teachings you have studied will remain as mere words on the surface and won't have the power to diminish afflictions or bring you happiness and liberation. In short, after listening to teachings, please don't remain indifferent and fail to put the teachings you have heard into practice. I'm not covering too much content in each class, so I hope you are able to read the text thoroughly, contemplate it carefully, and practice steadily. As such, you can receive the inconceivable blessings of the lineage masters. Hence, you will become a pure and authentic practitioner for your entire life, and your faith won't regress. Meanwhile, it's crucial to be grateful for the Guru's great kindness. As such, the teachings you've received can benefit all sentient beings. In contrast, if you rarely practice the authentic Dharma, never think of the kindness of the Guru, constantly generate wrong views, and accumulate negative actions through Dharma, then all these actions will drag you down to the lower realms like a millstone. We pursue Dharma for the purpose of liberation, not for deliberately falling into the lower realms. However, sometimes pursuing Dharma can be as risky as having major surgery. If the operation is done in the right way, the patient will be cured. If it is done in the wrong way, he will die. Thus, we must be very cautious about our own conduct. By doing so, we are considered real wise men, as mentioned in the Sutra of the Wise and the Foolish. Please contemplate the above teachings again and again.